Hey everyone, this is Dr. Casey Johnson. Thank you so much for taking time to listen to the Unlock Wellness podcast. I know you're going to love today's episode with Daniel Torres. Daniel is doing some amazing work and is helping so many people, so I'm excited to have him on to share a story with you guys. If you've been loving the Unlock Wellness podcast, be sure to jump onto iTunes, subscribe, and write a review. It really helps me out a lot, and I really appreciate all of the feedback and support. Also, be sure to follow me on social media to keep up with the latest podcast episodes. The best way to connect with me is on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. My username across the board is at Dr. Casey Johnson. That's DrKaseyJohnsson. You can also check out my website at drkaseyjohnson.com. It has all of the past podcast episodes and more information about each guest under the Listen tab. While you're on my site, also be sure to check out the Shop tab, where you can check out my first book of my Healthy Children's Book series and learn about the Unlock Wellness Project, which supplies a wellness bag to a child in need for each book purchased. Thank you again for listening. I hope this episode leaves you feeling inspired to start making positive changes to your health. Now it's time for today's episode. I hope you love my conversation with Daniel Torres. Welcome to the Unlock Wellness podcast. I'm Dr. Casey and excited for today's guest. I'm here with Daniel Torres, and Daniel is a vegan surfer. He's also a vlogger, and he's just doing some really positive work. So I'm excited to have him on to share his story with you guys and just everything that he's been working on. So Daniel, thank you so much for taking time to come on. I'm excited to have you.
Thanks. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, no, it's going to be fun. So, Daniel and I, we actually connected through social media. He was just doing some really awesome work in the plant-based community. So excited just for you to share your backstory, because I honestly don't know it. So why don't you just, take us back and walk us through what your health looked like at a younger age, how it's progressed, and just walk us through it.
All right. So I'm Puerto Rican, and growing up, we had like a very meat-centered, diet, I guess you could say. A lot of like fried foods, heavy oil-based foods. And honestly, if you would have told me when I was a kid that I was going to stop eating meat, I would have thought you were crazy. So I was like, growing up, I was like heavily into skateboarding, wanted to be a sponsored or like a pro skateboarder. I got sponsored by a local company. They ended up going out of business, and I kind of just stopped getting free skateboards. And I was like, well, I'll just start surfing. Around the time I started surfing, I started getting into like fitness. So I was about 17 years old. I saw, Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman, all them up on the Olympia stage. And I was like, oh, I want to be like that, just be massive. So here I am, this 140-pound kid trying to be like a shredded 225 pounds, which at the time I thought was feasible, at least for me. After about, I was 17. Then I just I went to college at Florida Gulf Coast University. Still working out, and I probably got up to around 2014, up to about 190 pounds at like 9% body fat. Still heavily just eating meat, like the typical chicken, lean meats, rice, sweet potatoes, that type of stuff. And then after that, I kind of went down to like 160. Then I went back to like 170, and it wasn't until last year that right before my wife and I went to California, she was like, hey, like there's this movie called Vegucated. We should watch it. So we sat down and watched Vegucated. And let me tell you that was like super eye-opening for me. And even then, like I wasn't 100% like, yeah, I'm going to go vegan. But I was like, maybe I can do some things to try to change things. Because I've always been interested in coming from Florida Gulf Coast University, which is like a very environmental school. We were always kind of around that, and the school always educated us on environmental stuff and protecting the environment. And as a surfer as well, like I want to protect the oceans and keep those around. I mean, there's a statistic I saw today, which is something like in 2048, we're going to be out of like no wild fish in the ocean.
Insane. I saw that exact same thing. Did you repost it? I might have saw it on yours.
No, I didn't post it. I was going to just now, but I got sidetracked. But yeah, which is insane to think of. Like as a surfer, I kind of take that time to, enjoy my time and like with the wildlife and fish, and sometimes you see manatees, turtles, the occasional shark, which isn't as fun to see. But yeah, so I saw that. Then we went to California, spent a week there. I actually did I was really into like Parts Unknown or whatever that Anthony Bourdain show was called. And I like recreated his whole trip in like Chinatown and all of his stay in LA. I ate every single meal that he ate, which obviously he's not vegan at all.
Right.
So when we came back, we saw Cowspiracy, we saw Forks Over Knives, and What the Health. And I was like, all right, I was pretty much swayed enough that I was like, I don't need it to survive. So I cut it out cold turkey. My wife cut dairy probably about a year before that, or like 6 months before that. And I'm a very like binary person. So I'm either like, I'm all in or I'm not. So since we were talking about Gary Vaynerchuk actually says, he's like, you're either pregnant or you're not. You're not half pregnant.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. No, Cowspiracy. That was a big one for me. I like that one. That one hit me pretty hard. I mean, obviously they all did. I loved that one. Cowspiracy is great.
Mine was Earthlings. When I saw
actually, I take it back. Earthlings. Oh my gosh.
I saw Earthlings probably like 6 months into being vegan, or maybe like 4 months into being vegan. So that was
crazy, right?
That movie like blew my mind, and I was like, how could people see this? Like, I showed my mom and like stuff like that, and still like she's mostly plant-based. But it's just crazy how like someone could watch that and just be like, oh, I'm just going to go back to eat meat. But I mean, I get, I was there as well. Like I was the whole, I don't care where my food comes from, like type of guy before.
Yeah, the blinders are up.
Exactly. And it's like when people told you or like showed you stuff, especially like when we were kids, when they came out with the whole pink slime thing for the hot dogs.
Yep.
We were like, oh, that's gross, but then you still
then you got the nugget. Yeah, you got the hot dogs and nuggets the next day.
Oh, those nuggets were delicious, but
you know it.
But now it's just like, oh my god, like how can I eat that? And that was so. I've been vegan now for about a year, and I've been lifting I'm 27, so I've been lifting for 10 years now. A year as a vegan. And my first thought was, oh man, I'm going to shrink. I'm going to get small. And I actually lost about 10 pounds when I first went vegan. But I'm not sure if it was because of that, because I like wasn't really paying attention to my caloric intake, which is super important when you're going vegan because they're a lot less calorically dense, like plant foods are. Or if it was the fact that when I came back from California at 104 fever for 5 days, like
a combination of the both.
Yeah,
of the two.
I got super sick when we came back, and my wife's like, "You need to go to the hospital." I'm like, "Oh, I'm fine." Like, I hate the doctor. I hate the hospital.
I'm with you on that one.
I don't know anything in the medical. I'm just like, no, I'm fine. I don't need it. There's got to be some like natural remedy for it.
Right.
I mean, I survived, which is fine. But yeah, I went down to like 160 pounds, something like that. Which for me, I haven't been down to that weight since like high school. But then I'm fine now. I'm at like 170. I was watching like Nimai Delgado, John Venus, Brian Turner, really big inspirations for me.
Yeah, they're all like, I mean, super ripped. Like, I mean, for you, like, so your natural state, you said in like high school, you're like 140, right?
Yeah.
So, and how tall are you?
I'm 5'9".
Okay. So like, you know, that's a big like misconception, right? Is that, you know, if you're vegan, you're going to be super, super like thin, like sickly, right? Like you don't really correlate.
Black circles under your eyes.
Exactly. Like you're not like somebody who lifts and like somebody that like, because you look at somebody like you look super in shape. So like that's not something like nobody's going to come up to you and be like, oh, hey man, are you vegan? You know, like that's not, nobody would put that together. So, you know, like, so for you as somebody that wanted to gain weight, who wanted to gain muscle, like what were some of the things that you did that really helped that along? Obviously you said at first, maybe you weren't getting enough calories. Like what were some things that you did that helped with that? Or like some things when you switched it, you're like, oh man, this is really working. This is helping me a lot.
Yeah. So I've used MyFitnessPal, which is like an app on the phone that I've used that before. So probably the first like 2 months, I really just pretty much dialed in my whole diet. So I got an idea because like I can always kind of eyeball like calories, protein, fats, that kind of thing on like a meat diet because I've been doing it for 9 years of me lifting, but like the whole plant world was just way different for me. And like Derek Sumnet with Sumnet Nutrition, I've talked to him a few times, and he's definitely helped me a lot, kind of like understanding diet and what you need, what you don't need, the whole misconception of, you know, you need a gram and a half per pound of body weight to build muscle, this crazy like caloric surplus. I mean, right now I don't even track my macros or anything, just honestly, just because I'm kind of lazy. So, I mean, I've been doing it a year now, so I can kind of get an idea of what I'm getting. But I'm probably getting, I don't know, less than 100 grams of protein a day. I'm probably around like the 2,200 calorie mark. It's just my fats are super low. And I'm getting like 300 to 400 grams of carbs a day. But MyFitnessPal definitely helped with that because, and the faux meats as well, because I wasn't sure where to get my protein. And I knew that was like an easy source that I didn't have to try to figure out like how much was in it, because it kind of said it on the bag.
Right.
Like the whole like Gardein I've been using that a lot, but I don't really eat those anymore, which is weird. I probably haven't, I mean, I actually had it for dinner tonight, but other than that, I haven't had like a Gardein or a faux meat in probably like a week and a half.
Yeah, it's a good transition food, obviously. And like, no, I love how you put that, because it's like the MyFitnessPal thing, that's really, it's really a great tool, especially when you're trying to figure out like, this is how much I need to eat. I can track it, because until you realize how much you really should be eating and you get that down, then you don't need to use the app every day. Because when people get like obsessive like that, sometimes it's counteractive, and you're like, man, I don't want to have to worry about this every day. Like, it's
like the people who check the scale every day.
Exactly. Please. Yeah. If you're listening, like, don't check your weight every single day. Like, that will drive you insane. You can gain a pound one day, lose 3 the next. Like, I mean, once a week.
Well, I'm crazy. I'll go like 4 pounds from morning to when I go to bed.
Right?
Like my weight fluctuates so much.
It's just being consistent. Like, pick a day that you do it per week, or better yet, every few weeks. You know, like I barely weigh myself anymore, because like it's cool, because like when you eat like this, whatever weight you want to be at, like your body will regulate to where it needs to be, and then it's consistent. Like, I've never been more consistent at a weight my entire life. Like, it's very cool.
Like, I had donuts the other day. It's like my body didn't even know I had donuts. It's just been so long since I
right by.
Yeah.
It's really cool. So once you got that down, you kind of realize how much food you needed to put in. Like you said, some of the faux meats really helped you out with that transition. So for you, like what? Like more beans, rice, veggies, obviously smoothies, things like that.
I love Indian food, and I probably eat Indian food almost every day or some variation of it. It's a lot of like chickpeas, lentils, a lot of rice.
A lot of curry.
Oh my God, I love curry. I had curry last night and today. But the good thing about Indian food is like, it's very easy to veganize like Indian food. And it's also a lot of calories. So I know if I sit down at a meal, I'm having 600 to 800 calories right there, which is probably like lower on the fats, higher in the carbs. Protein's probably, 20, 30, sometimes 40 grams of protein in that, depending how much I eat. So if I have like one Indian meal, if I have like a shake, which I use Vivo Life. So I just started becoming an affiliate with them about a month ago.
Cool.
And then I'm actually with Planet Protein as well now with Brendan.
Awesome. He's great, right?
Yeah. So I actually met him through another friend. I was at Veg Fest here in Space Coast, because I live in Cocoa Beach area.
Nice.
And my friend Josue is like, oh, like I have a friend you should meet. His name's Brendan, runs Planet Protein. I was like, cool. So I kind of like reached out to him on Instagram, started talking to him. And that's when I saw your post on Vero, and I was like, hey, I know that guy. And I was like, hey, is Brendan on here? And that's how we started talking.
Right.
Cool. So yeah, that's pretty much like all I use. I use like a multivitamin as well, from Viva Life called Thrive, which is like a raw superfood with greens and pretty much a multivitamin. I have their BCAAs that I take as well. And then just like 2 scoops of protein, which would leave me at like 50 grams just in a shake, plus whatever I eat during the day.
Nice. No, I love it. Cause I mean, it really is easy. And like, I mean, just when you're like describing what you eat, like it's so doable. And you know what, people don't even really, you don't have to even have the supplements to make it doable.
Oh, not at all.
Obviously, like, if you can and you want to, they're there, but you don't even have to do that. So it's like people kind of overcomplicate it sometimes when
Yeah.
it's really easy to do.
The whole supplement industry in like the vegan world, it's interesting because it turns a lot of people off because a lot of it just isn't good.
Right.
Or it just doesn't taste that great. And that's why like Planet Protein and Vivo Life, like honestly, were the best I've ever had, which is why I'm super stoked to like be a part of that. Otherwise, like I wouldn't, because I've had some other ones. I'm not going to name other companies, but it just, it wasn't that great, or like the ingredients weren't like completely sustainable, or they're using like ingredients that I disagree with, even though they may be plant-based, like palm oil and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's just kind of difficult to find something. That's why I found something and I stuck with it. Like I was using Vivo Life for 6 months before they even reached out to me.
That's cool. I haven't had any of their products yet. I'll have to. Yeah, but as far as Planet Protein, big plug for Planet Protein and what Brennan's doing and his girlfriend Carly. They're both amazing, and like that their products, I mean, not only taste great, like the ingredients are great, like you said, sustainable, no palm oil. So big shout out to Planet Protein.
Because I had a protein bar company it's a large one that sent me a bunch of stuff through Instagram, and come to find out, like sustainability wise, like weren't using the best ingredients. They didn't taste the best. So I reached out to Brendan because I haven't tried his bars at that point. And he sent me out a couple boxes, and I was like, this is worlds different. Like it honestly does not taste like plant protein bars on the market taste.
No, they're really great. Actually, I need to order more. It's a good reminder. I might do that. I might do that when we jump off. But no, that's awesome. I love that. And like, so kind of walk us through, like, I know you do a lot on YouTube. If if you do follow Daniel on social media, he goes by the Swole Surfer, which I think is really creative and I like it. But kind of walk us through. Tell her good job. I love it. But like, so kind of why you started to build a platform. What was first? Was it YouTube? And your whole thought process, creative process, do that.
Yeah, so it started when I had Instagram initially. I was called Forever Bulking, and it's because
was it EVA?
It was.
Was it Eva?
Yeah, it was so funny. And I actually followed some kid on Instagram who took the original Forever Bulking that I couldn't have, and it was just kind of a funny relationship we had. But it was because I was always stuck in the mindset of I need to get as big as I can, need to get as massive as I can. And I kind of like neglected the functionality of my body. So, I mean, when I was 190 pounds, like being a surfer, being a soccer player, like I suffered greatly with that. Like I wasn't as agile. I was like, kind of like partially tearing ACLs and ligaments in my knees, a lot of ankle issues. When I was surfing, I was practically a boat. Like my board is 5'11", 5'10", depending on what I'm riding. So it's a pretty smaller board. It was just harder to get into waves. Like it just wasn't great. So like the weight I am now is just much better. But through Instagram, that kind of transition, I was like, now that I'm vegan, and I've always done some sort of video production. Like I've taken TV production and been editing video since I was 15, I think. So I've always been kind of around that, like equipment and software and whatnot. So I was like, now that I have this, like, I feel like I have the personality or the voice or something to kind of like spread a message. And I was like, I need to utilize this. I need to like take advantage of a platform that I'm given that's so easily attainable to everyone. Like Instagram's so easy to use. I mean, you have people in their 60s using it. I mean, even YouTube. So that's why I started the YouTube specifically for that. Like I had my YouTube channel where I had like old surfing videos and little montages I put up, but I started taking it more serious probably about last August. I mean, and I have demographic from 65-year-olds, 15-year-olds, which is crazy because I never thought people of that age or whatever,
right,
or range was even looking at my videos. So it was definitely interesting.
That is, and like you said, Instagram is pretty incredible. Like, I mean, the reach you can get, just the content that you can put out. It's not just photos now. Like video is a pretty big portion of it, and with Instagram stories is kind of taking over everything.
Yeah. So I have every day I do coffee talk on Instagram through my story. Nice. So I'm obsessed with coffee. I mean, I know there's people who say coffee's good for you, coffee's bad for you.
Right.
I'll be honest. I drink probably about a pot a day. I drink a lot of coffee. I just really enjoy it. Like being Hispanic, like I've been drinking Bustelo coffee since I was like, I don't know, 10 years old, 9 years old. and I haven't really stopped. So like I decided to build something around that, something that I enjoy coffee, and then sometimes I'll have like a topic of the day, or it's something that's been on my mind, or something that I noticed. And I kind of transitioned that to cross-platform that into YouTube, and I do Coffee Talk Tuesday on YouTube only. So it's kind of like in front of the camera type.
Is it YouTube live or just straight YouTube?
No, just uploading a video. I usually just do it like one take, uncut. It honestly takes me 5 minutes to record, 5 minutes to upload, 5 minutes to put it on YouTube, because I don't do any editing with Coffee Talk, just because that's kind of the whole idea behind it.
Right, to be more real.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. No, that's cool. So you made you started doing that. You started putting up more on YouTube, started going more by like the Swole Surfer kind of brand, right? So like, how has that progressed? How's it opened doors? Like, when did it really start to pay off for you, just the consistency?
Yeah. So I initially just started it just to reach more people, kind of showing them that you can be vegan and build muscle at the same time. I mean, I know there's a bunch of other people doing that as well, but it was just something I was interested in. I didn't really see any like big vegan surfers, except I think Tia Blanco, who's on the WSL. She's a vegan,
right.
pro vegan surfer.
Do you know her?
Do I know her?
Yeah.
No, not personally.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
She's somebody I eventually want to get on the podcast. I was kind of curious. If you're listening and you know her, please shoot me a message about that connection.
For real. And I know like Kelly Slater's kind of dabbled in it a little bit.
I did see that. That'd be awesome. That'd be great.
It would. So I just kind of took my passions of lifting, surfing, now being vegan, and just kind of put it out there, which I didn't really have. I'm not a person that sets like goals really, just because I don't like disappointment. I feel like if it's like, I'm not a big New Year's resolutioner guy, because if I set a goal and I don't accomplish it, it's more of a letdown than an achievement, at least for me. So it kind of, I wasn't sure the direction I wanted to take it, besides just getting a voice out there, which it's kind of turned into like, I guess like a smaller influencer type thing for other brands. Which is great, because I mean, all the brands that I talk about are ones that I use personally, or that I believe in, or that have a good message for them as a brand. So it's worked out to at least get me out there, to get other people's voices heard that have a similar passion as mine, like with Planet Protein as well, like the whole sustainability of the planet. And honestly, for me, that's like super important. I've talked to people, especially like at work and stuff, and I tell them that all the destruction that agriculture farming has on the environment. And this one kid literally said, "I don't care. I won't be alive." And I was like, oh my gosh, like, are you serious? Like, what about, your children, your children's children, or your children's grandchildren? I don't know. For me, that's just hard to wrap around. Like, if I don't want to live in it, I don't want someone in there, but I try to like empathize for it. But,
right. And understand where they're at. Maybe they're not even close to anywhere to having like a child yet. Like for me, like I have a 2-year-old, and like, I think about that stuff now. Mm-hmm. Like I think about great grandkids, because like that affects my daughter. Like, I mean, that obviously that affects her whole future. It's just like, it's crazy. But like you said, you have to empathize, because you don't know where people are currently at or where they're going to be, because like you said earlier, you talk to like younger you, you would never say you were going to plant-based. I wouldn't either. Yeah. So it's like, you don't know where people are going to end up, but it's cool to watch how it progresses.
Yeah. My wife definitely keeps me have like a level-headed on conversations like that. I always think about her, because sometimes I don't know, I talk before I think. So I always just try to like, okay, kind of assess the situation, how I should approach it, versus just like, you're crazy, don't do that. So, because that's not the way to like spread activism, I guess you could say.
Right.
Kind of cram things down people's throats.
And what I like, people like that, really people that I've been able to connect with through the podcast, and people that are checking out the podcast and like their audiences, because like I feel like it's building this bigger network of not only people that care about like the environment and nutrition and all of that, but like it's people like there's a lot of people that are in like the vegan movement that are kind of negative and have that like that bad rap, but like the people that I've connected with so far have all been so amazing and like loving and have empathy, and like I like surrounding myself with people like that. So I think it's cool, just obviously you keep building your audiences, and then we can collaborate and just build this bigger network full of people who care, but they're actually like they really care and like they come from a really good place. You know what I mean?
Well, it was cool because like, I mean, there's times now, which I never used to get this before, but I'll get DMs asking me like nutritional information or stuff that I do, or I had someone the other day just message me saying that like, you're so fun to watch on social media. Like, and to me, that's just wild that people would even come to me for like some sort of advice. I don't think I'm in like some higher, I don't know, hierarchy or whatever that I know more than anybody else. So when people ask me for stuff, like, I'm just like, I don't really know, but I was like, this is what I do.
Right.
So I've never really delved into like too much science, I guess, just more so how my body responds. And I feel like my body's just, it's weird, man. I could just fluctuate, at least before. Now, like you said, my weight's pretty stable as it is as well. But before, I can go 15 pounds in a month one way or the other.
Yeah. I mean, and it's cool coming from a place of like experience, because when people reach out, they're like, well, what are you doing? It's not like you're coming at them with a bunch of like science and stuff, because honestly, when people want help like that, that's not what they want for the most part. Obviously you can throw it in there, it helps, but they want to hear what you're doing and like how it's affecting you. Like stories can have a way bigger impact sometimes than throwing all the science out there, which is 100% there. Like if you want that, shoot me a message. I can, hook you up with some of the research, but like, and those stories are so powerful.
A lot of it with like the nutrition too. They're like, give me a recipe or like a meal plan or something. And I'm like, it's honestly not everything you see like on social media of this elaborate meal of like some creativeness. Like honestly, sometimes it's just some frozen vegetables and some rice that I just throw together.
I know. I need to start posting more of what I eat, because I'm bad about it, because like you said, like there's a lot of nights where we keep it so basic that it looks boring, but it's just like, that's what we like. It does help people. It does help people. Like, but tonight I actually should, because I made a vegan lasagna.
Oh,
and
nice.
it looks so pretty and it's so easy. And I'm like, this is the kind of stuff that.
Lately, like tempeh tacos have been my thing.
Oh, that sounds good.
Oh man, they've been super good. Tempeh is like really weird for people who've never had it before, but when I tell them to try it, they're like, "Oh, that's not as bad as I thought. Like it's actually really good." And I was like, I can eat tempeh raw. Like I love it.
Oh, tempeh, I haven't had it raw, but like I like lightly cook it like in a skillet, but like with some of like the kind of like buffalo hot sauce.
Oh yes,
that's like,
put those in tacos with the just ranch.
Oh, that sounds good.
Oh, it's super good.
That sounds great. I'm gonna get off here and eat.
Yeah,
but it's like stuff like that. It's like just whenever you can follow somebody on social media and you can ask each other and like see what they're posting and eating, like that's really how you learn, and like just in that community, it's really cool.
Yeah, I've always tried to remain, I guess you could say, like reachable or attainable, because there's so many times like I've messaged so many like influencers, even people who are a part of like bigger companies or organizations and stuff, who have, I don't know, hundreds of thousands or millions of followers and stuff, which I get, like they probably get DMs all the time of just crazy stuff they never see. But you have like an actual heartfelt question that never gets reached or never gets answered. I mean, I've even sent Gary Vaynerchuk, which I know he's a super busy guy, and I've actually saw him in person in Tampa when he was here.
I'm so jealous.
Oh my God,
I couldn't get there, and I'm so sad.
I found out the night before.
You know what? I did too, and like by that time it was too late.
I saw
I'm
it
like,
on Twitter.
How did I not know? He posted on Twitter. Yeah, I know. Gosh,
I told my wife, I was like, "You're calling out tomorrow. We're going to see Gary."
I'm so jealous. Hey, that theater is awesome, right?
Oh my God, it was beautiful.
So pretty. It's so pretty.
It was insane. And so I've always kind of remained that open line of contact. Like I respond to every DM I get. Every single
me too.
I respond to, unless it's like just hi. Like, then I'm like, okay, I'm probably not gonna respond to that.
Or if it's like a spam message that it's not a real.
Or like Pete my profile, or you're cute. It's like, okay, no, that's not what I'm trying to do here.
Right. No, that's funny. No, I agree. Just being super like reachable and stuff, because like I mean, you don't know how far like that'll reach. I mean, there's been a lot of people that have reached out that, like you said, like I'm going to respond to anybody that shoots me a message, but like, and then people share the podcast like on their page, and like, I don't ask them to do that, but it means a lot, because even if it's a few hundred people that see it, like that's huge. Like that means the world when people share.
How long have you had the podcast now?
It'll be a year, it was April 13th.
Okay.
So it's almost a year.
Sweet.
So so it's been really cool to just as consistent as possible. And it's been really amazing, just the connections I've been able to make.
Yeah.
This year's I've made more connections and had more really awesome opportunities than just because just the consistency. It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And like, I know that you're about to make some big changes, right? You and wifey are moving to California.
Yeah, so I'm currently sitting on my bed on the floor with no bedroom set. I have crammed everything that I have in my life in one guest bedroom right now because the house that we own, my in-laws just moved into because they're going to take over the house. We move in May to California. So we're going to go the Huntington Beach area, like Orange County area, because my job's transferred me out to Santa Ana. And she just had an interview out in Santa Ana as well. So fingers crossed she gets that job.
Yeah, that's exciting.
So April 13th, we're flying out to go find a place to live and just kind of go out there. There's world-class surf out there. The vegan community is insane. Right now they have the vegan street fair out in LA that I see everybody at.
I know, me too. I'm super jealous. I do want to start getting to more of those events because it's cool to connect with people because they're always there. I went to the Miami, the Seed Food and Wine. Have you ever been to that one?
No.
It was really great. Like I got to like meet Rich Roll and his wife and a bunch of really cool people. It was awesome though.
Yeah. I've been meaning to go down to like South Florida and Southwest Florida because they have like a bunch of people. And I know people who run like the Anonymous for the Voiceless over in Southwest Florida. And they're always like at all those events, but with my job, it's kind of hard to travel 3 hours south for the day and stuff. And I swear every time, so I alternate weekends that I work. And every time there's an event, it's the weekend I work. And I'm like, I can't go again.
Right. No, those events are really awesome. But that's cool that you, so April 13th, so you're going to be flying on my podcast anniversary. So you'll have to.
Oh, really? Yeah. Put it, when you do it, I'll just save it. Give me something to listen to on the plane.
That's funny. No, that's really cool because you're going to have a really awesome vegan community over there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There was this in Costa Mesa, not too far. I was watching this, just a video that popped up on Facebook, and there's a Mexican vegan bakery that's in Costa Mesa. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I'm going to get so fat. I'm going to be there every day.
You said like Indian was your go-to vegan. Mexican is my go-to. I can probably eat Mexican food every single day.
So like being Puerto Rican, like I love Hispanic food, and Indians just, it's so hard for me to choose between the two because they're very, very close for me.
It is.
It's hard.
I do like Indian food.
Yeah.
It is good.
I like really spicy food, so I always order it Indian hot, and they're always like, are you sure? And I'm like, yes, trust me. Just give me a lot of water too. I'll be fine.
That's funny. No, I love that. Like, what were some of like the struggles that you had whenever you made that switch, or was it all pretty easy once you made it, since you said you're pretty much in or out?
Yeah. So the first week, not that it was hard, but I guess like I wasn't 100% sold on it, and I was just kind of doing it with my wife who was doing it as well. And actually the end of the first week, I said I can't anymore. And I went to McDonald's and I got a Big Mac because that was always like my go-to like burger to like on the go. For some reason, I just liked it. And it was the most disappointing burger I've ever had. And that was the last piece of meat I ate.
But that's an amazing story though.
Yeah.
You should never leave that part out of your story like ever again. Like if you're ever on another podcast, I want to hear that in the first paragraph.
Yeah, it was super upsetting. And that was pretty much it. So it was all pretty simple once I started watching YouTube, like with Derek Simnett, who did a lot of like nutrition stuff. It was really easy for me to kind of get that information. And the information, like literally you Google anything and it's on there.
Is Derek Simnett, is he plant-based or is he more fitness-based? Because I know the name. I've seen it.
Yeah, he's both. He does a lot of calisthenics.
Okay.
So like his his YouTube and Instagram is mostly like he's a holistic nutritionist or something.
Gotcha.
So he does a lot of that and a lot of like calisthenic workouts, and he does go to the gym, and he goes down on like Muscle Beach every once in a while. He's over in I think in Vancouver Island is where he's at.
That's cool. Yeah, the resources are there, and like the resources are there for free.
Oh yeah.
So like, I mean, either go follow some really awesome people on Instagram, or like go listen to a lot of different types of podcasts, or you know, the resources are are there if you really want them. I think the first step to make is like definitely just follow those people and like kind of figure out that kind of community, like just find some kind of community to help, like give you the info, you up whenever you think maybe I should go to McDonald's, that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, there's a ton of like different communities. I mean, for me, there's like a Vegans of YouTube one. I'm in this. Somebody messaged me on Twitter and then added me on Snapchat, and then now I'm in like a 30-person group called V Gang on Snapchat.
Oh, that's cool. Is that with Tim Sheaf?
No. It's surprising. It's just a bunch of kids that started it. They're all
That's cool.
Some of them are in high school, some of them are in their 20s. So it's just kind of some people in Florida that started it.
I love that. That's awesome. Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. And like, we were talking about some of the stuff you're working on, but like, is there anything else happening like in the future that you just want to put out there for people to be looking for, or just continue to put out really great content?
Yeah. At this point, I'm just totally going to vlog the whole trip to California.
Awesome.
So every single day, I'm going to try at least to do a daily vlog when I get out there. Because I mean, I'm stopping in Grand Canyon. I'm stopping in Louisiana. I need to stop in Roswell. Like that was my favorite show when I was a kid. So I've always wanted to go to Roswell. The whole trip of finding a house or like a place to stay, I'm going to document. I think a lot of it for me is just the whole documentation aspect, because coming up with concepts of creative content is kind of difficult for me, because I don't really have, I don't write a lot of ideas down, and I should. And my phone's like full of notes, but I always forget to look back, or it's just hard for me to have a schedule. So I'm a very like on a whim type person. I'm not one to like plan things out too much. Like this whole California move basically was like, we went to the trip last year, and when we got home, we're like, all right, we're moving. So it's like, you start to realize, okay, crap, I own a home now. I have to figure out what to do with that. Or, oh, I'm in debt. I got to figure out how to get out of that. I mean, my wife, bless her for this, she like totally came up with a whole plan to get us like 100% ready for California within a year. And it's totally worked out.
That's awesome.
None of it because of me, because I'm very bad at like planning things like financially and stuff. I'm like, here's money, do something with it. I don't know. So if it wasn't for her, I'd probably be in a ton of debt just because I have no self-control.
That's funny.
So yeah, I'm definitely just continue going on YouTube, Instagram. I love Instagram just because it's so easy to connect to people or connect with people. I send probably like 20 DMs a day just talking to people, just because I like to talk a lot. My wife tells me all the time that like I literally can have a conversation with anybody on the street just because like, how's your day going?
Right.
Or just whatever. It's weird. Like sometimes I'll just say hi to people walking by and they just look at you weird, which is one thing in Florida, which is really strange. Like sometimes people are just like, why are you saying hi to me?
I know. I grew up in West Virginia, and like, I feel like that the friendliness aspect is definitely more there than it is here. But we actually live in Claremont, which is like right outside of Orlando. Super like active community trails. Like people are always like running, walk. I swear everybody on that trail, it doesn't matter what day it is, everybody you pass will tell you hi. Like,
really?
I think it's like an unwritten rule that, but it's amazing. Like it's cool. I love it here.
I grew up in Orlando, like,
oh, cool.
Just outside. I went to Colonial High School. So I was kind of like East Orlando.
Gotcha. And
you say hi to people and they're just like, what are you doing? But when I went to like Australia, or when I went to, California, someone says hi and it's like they're ready to have a conversation. I was like, this is awesome. It's like, this is totally me.
That's awesome. No, I love that. Like, yeah, cool. So you got the blog, going to be out every day. Make sure you document too, like where you stop to eat, just the different plant place. That's going to be huge for you too.
I need to do that. Yeah. Yeah. I also want to do a ghost tour. I've always wanted to do one in Louisiana. So that's
that's too scary for me. But you can document it and I'll watch it.
So I kind of want to do like the more historical aspect. I'm not trying to like summon things.
I got you. Yeah, they had those. I mean, like St. Augustine, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, I've done those. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. And then like, I know I mentioned it a little bit, how the Swole Surfer. So like, is that the best way to reach you on everything? On everything,
Snapchat, Twitter, Vero, Instagram, everything's the Swole Surfer. All my discount codes for Vivo Life is Swole Surfer 10, Planet Proteins, the Swole Surfer. So pretty much everything is that, just because it's just so much easier to to reach somebody if they have the same name. Like I know your name is like the same across everything. It's so hard trying to look up someone and then like figure out they have a different name somewhere else or is like a different character in there.
I agree. It makes it so much better. Cool. Yeah. So I'll definitely put that in the show notes so people can go click follow you and keep up with your vlogs and social media. And then Daniel, just a closing question that I ask every guest. But if you just had one piece of advice for the audience, maybe it's something that's been your biggest takeaway through your whole wellness journey. But if you just had one piece of advice to give, what would it be?
It would probably be don't listen to people when they tell you can't get enough protein through a plant-based diet.
Perfect and very, very true. No, that's awesome, Daniel. Thank you so much for taking time to come on. I'm excited just to share what you're doing because I love it. And just everybody go give him a follow. And just Daniel, thank you so much.
Thanks. I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. I hope you loved my conversation with Daniel. I love the work he's doing, so be sure to give him a follow on social media to keep up with everything that he's been working on. You can find his social media links that we talked about in the episode in the show notes, but you can also find them on my website as well at drkaseyjohnson.com. That's drkaseyjohnson.com. Click on the Listen tab. Then from there, you'll be able to see all of the past guests that have come on the Unlock Wellness podcast, read a little bit about each guest, and be able to click on their social media links, websites, all of that. So all of Daniel's information can be found on my site as well. If you guys loved today's episode with Daniel, be sure to jump onto iTunes, subscribe, and write a review. It really helps me out a lot, and I really appreciate all of the feedback and support. Thank you guys so much again for tuning in to today's episode. I hope you loved it. I hope it inspires you. And most importantly, I hope you take action.